What's up guys, Sean here, and today we're going to talk about Vox host Carlos Maza's quest to get anybody who disagrees with him banned from YouTube. Now, we've talked about Carlos Maza in each of my last two videos. The first one was about how we should deplatform Fox News, and the second one was about his quest to get Steven Crowder banned for making reply videos to him. And that's because at some point last week, Maza started engaging in a pre-planned operation to get Steven Crowder removed from the platform. Maza decided to cut together a 2-minute video of every joke about his ethnicity and his sexuality, and put it out there as if that was the bulk of the criticism Steven Crowder was leveling against him. Now, obviously, if you look over Steven Crowder's Vox videos, you'll find out that most of them are from 10 to 20 minutes long, and the fact that he could only find 2 minutes worth of jokes that reference his sexuality should indicate that there was a lot more context in the video than actually was presented. However, since we don't live in a world where context is actually taken into account when assessing something, YouTube decided to launch an investigation into the YouTube channel of Steven Crowder. Now, the reason I'm pointing out that this was a targeted attack against Steven Crowder and all of those who disagree with Carlos Maza and Vox is because that's exactly what it is. If you go through Carlos Maza's tweets, he's referencing a lot of things that happened over a year ago. For example, him getting doxxed and people calling his personal telephone number. Which, by the way, 2 quick points on that. Don't dox anybody and don't call anybody's personal telephone number or go to anybody's house if their address is leaked online. That's obviously horrible and not okay in any way, shape, or form. And that's why I've actually taken the liberty to blur out the phone numbers in Carlos Maza's dox tweet, because Carlos Maza responded to doxing by doxing. So Carlos edited together clips out of context of Steven Crowder making jokes about him over the past 2 years, and coupled that with the screenshot of some text message that he received a year ago when he was doxxed, and waited until days before June, which is considered Pride Month by the LGBT community, to drop all of this and say that not only was Steven Crowder attacking him based on his sexuality, which he absolutely 100% was not, he made it seem like Crowder was attacking everybody who is an LGBTQ creator. Now, Maza can claim all he wants, that this was just him being genuinely hurt, and he just happened to tweet about Steven Crowder when he was drunk. But based on the evidence, this was clearly a calculated move on the part of him to do the most damage possible to YouTube in order to get Steven Crowder banned from the platform. I'm sorry, but you don't drunkenly, on a whim, download over 20 Steven Crowder videos, sift through all of them in order to find 2 minutes of jokes, edit them together, and then throw that out on Twitter a couple of days before Pride on a whim. This was clearly a targeted attack on Steven Crowder. And for once, and I mean for once, it seemed like YouTube was gonna come down on the correct side of this issue. They had released statements on Twitter saying that Steven Crowder did not violate their terms of service. They sent out a statement to Gizmodo that they weren't supposed to print, but I think Gizmodo ran it anyway because they said they never agreed not to run the statement. And that also pointed out that Steven Crowder did not actually violate their terms of service. And for a moment, it seemed like YouTube was going to come down on the right side of this issue. And I know there's some deliberately confusing articles being put out there about whether or not Crowder actually violated the terms of service of YouTube, but he didn't. The terms of service specifically prohibit engaging in harassment campaigns against other YouTubers. Steven Crowder at no point engaged in a harassment campaign against Carlos Maza or against Vox. He made response videos to Carlos Maza. He never encouraged his supporters to go over to Vox and comment on them. He never encouraged hatred toward Carlos Maza. He never encouraged doxing of Carlos Maza. The second section of the terms of service that people often point to is the targeting somebody based on their unique characteristics, like their sexual orientation, race or ethnic origin, religion, yada, yada, yada. And Steven Crowder also did not violate these terms of service. Steven Crowder wasn't making videos about a random creator because they were gay. He was making response videos to Vox, who happens to have a gay host, which is why the bulk of his videos, which were responses to the ideas presented by Maza and Vox, were not related to his sexual orientation. If you make a 20-minute video rebutting the ideas of a Vox host, and you make 30 seconds of jokes about the Vox host, that is not targeting the Vox host based on their sexual orientation or whatever you're joking about. YouTube initially was 100% right in their assessment of Steven Crowder's videos. They were not harassment, they weren't encouraging a harassment campaign, and they weren't targeting him based on his innate characteristics. It was rebuttals to his ideas with some jokes here and there about his innate characteristics. So because YouTube was 100% right in their initial assessment, they of course decided to backpedal moments later. And the way that they backpedaled is that they decided to demonetize Steven Crowder's entire YouTube channel so that he can no longer make money from ad revenue on YouTube. Now at first they claimed that Crowder could get his monetization restored if he stopped linking to his Socialism is for Figs t-shirt. But of course, for Carlos Maza, like all authoritarian-minded people, this was not good enough, and then YouTube added additional stipulations to prevent Crowder from remonetizing his channel. He would now have to address other issues about his channel in order to have monetization restored, because according to YouTube, although Crowder didn't violate the terms of service, he was right at the line, therefore he should lose his monetization as if he violated the terms of service of YouTube, which is a completely ridiculous standard. If the speed limit is 55 miles per hour and you're driving 55 miles per hour, you can't get pulled over by a cop because you're almost violating the speed limit. Another word for staying right at the line and not going over it is following the rules as they are written, which Steven Crowder was 100% doing. But even taking away Crowder's ability to make revenue until he takes out jokes that he made about Maza in the past was not enough for Carlos Maza, and he continues to this day to try and get Steven Crowder completely removed from the platform, and he's willing to start an adpocalypse in order to do so. I just want to point out once again that Carlos Maza said that this was about LGBTQ creators on the platform being harassed, and now his tactic to resolve that is to hurt all creators, including LGBT creators, by triggering another adpocalypse and thus preventing them from making a living. And we should all find it really obnoxious that someone who doesn't make their money through YouTube, they get paid by a separate company, Vox, is targeting the entire platform because out of an hour or hours of content made by Steven Crowder, he found 2 minutes worth of insults against him. And it's not just Steven Crowder that this is affecting. Because of Carlos Maza, there are a number of YouTubers that are getting emails indicating that they are losing their monetization status, being kicked from the partner program. All due to the fact that Carlos Maza and Vox decided to leverage their power both as an individual who's an LGBT content maker and as a giant corporation in order to eliminate their competitors and all opposing viewpoints. Maza is a guy who has publicly called for violence. He has publicly endorsed the actions of Antifa. His Twitter bio contains lies about Tucker Carlson, the same lies that motivated members of Antifa to show up to Tucker Carlson's house a few months ago. Now, fortunately for me, I am not one of the content creators who have lost monetization over this nonsense. I'll keep you guys updated on that front because only time will tell. But I do want to take the time to thank everybody who's supported me on Patreon and Subscribestar, and people who have supported me through PayPal. You can now do monthly donations on PayPal. That's pretty nice. But to reiterate, I'm not one of the people who have lost monetization and been kicked out of the partner program, so this isn't a fundraiser, but thank you nonetheless for your support. But this is where we're at. YouTube has decided that they are going to continue to crack down on conservative creators who do not violate their terms of service due to the fact that the left is full of badly motivated actors who will keep pushing to deplatform their political opponents. And it's not going to stop here. When Steven Crowder's Vox response videos were demonetized, Carlos Maza was not satisfied. When Crowder was forbidden from selling his shirts through YouTube links, Maza was not satisfied. And now that YouTube has booted him completely from the partner program, you guessed it, Carlos Maza is still not satisfied. These people will not stop pushing until all of their political opposition is banned and they can no longer make a living doing anything. Now, I know after hearing all of this, a lot of you are not going to be happy with these developments, you're not going to be happy with Vox, and you're not going to be happy with Carlos Maza. However, I recommend not giving this guy any more ammunition. You guys should all resist the urge to tweet at him or go to his videos and leave nasty comments. If you do want to engage Vox or Carlos Maza, just tell him politely and concisely that you're not going to support him or Vox because they support censorship. The goal of Maza and Vox is to ban their political opposition. They want the insults, they want the name calling, because that's ammunition that they can use against their political opponents. What they don't want is for you to argue the point, for you to stand up for freedom of expression, for you to fight against corporate censorship, for you to take away their ability to cry as they bully you. So yes, if you want to take action, stay on point. Take a page out of the Vox playbook and find out who sponsors them and email them that you're not satisfied that they're endorsing a company that is engaging in corporate censorship and is anti-free speech. Don't stop using hashtags like the Vox Adpocalypse, and support creators that you want to see continue and follow them on other social media platforms. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the Vox Adpocalypse. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you like this video, then show me by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on all my social medias, support me on PayPal, Patreon, Subscribestar. This has been me saying words into a microphone while looking at a camera. Till next time.